Welcome to the Italian Wine Podcast. Join us as we present our new 7-part series with our fantastic partner, E&J Gallo Winery. We are proud to present this series of interviews, diving deep into the heritage and legacy of their portfolio of excellent Italian producers in the run-up to the launch of the new brand identity for their importer, which will be shared on March 16th in an episode with Marilisa Allegrini. Tune in every Saturday from March 5th through to April 16th as we take an intimate look at these respected historic producers and their role as part of the Gallo family of luxury wines. And remember to check out our YouTube channel, Mama Jumbo Shrimp, for incredible video content featuring a visit to Argiano.
I'm so excited to be here today with Giuseppe Tornatore to kick off this series of conversations with Italian winemakers in the Gallo luxury portfolio. Welcome, Giuseppe.
Hi, Sarah. How are you?
I'm doing so great, thank you. I'm so happy to be here with you today. I'd love to just jump right in with a question about what you think makes Etna so special. So as a wine growing region, but just for you personally.
Okay, so as you know, Etna, I know that you are a fan of Etna, but first of all, of course, Etna, it's quite a unique place. It's beautiful. It's a magical place because it's the highest active volcano in Europe, and it's characterized by really fertile volcanic soil, very full in microelements like iron, magnesium, potassium. Let's say it's something it's a place that I usually travel a lot for my business, and when I come back to Etna, there is always a kind of sense of astonishment because it's a place like unique in the world. You can ski in the morning and in the afternoon you can go on the beach. So it's something really unique. Then regarding what we are tonight talking about is the wine, the exposure to the sun. It's in the north part of Etna where we are is really unique, and let's say there are very huge, remarkable thermal excursions between day and night. So it's a really unique terroir, and we are in love with it.
Yeah, I think it's really one of the most striking places I've ever traveled to. You have kind of big black boulders of recent lava flows next to beautiful vineyards and olive trees and chestnuts, and then sometimes there's a smoking summit at the top. So it's a crazy place to grow wine.
Yeah, it's really when I talk to people and say that we grow wine on an active volcano, they look at me like, oh, you are crazy. But it's right. But so this is the magic of Etna. That it's we have just one Etna in the world, and we are really lucky to be there. So we try to do our best to make everything perfect, to try to do everything perfect, to not to waste what nature gave us. So this is very important for us.
Well, let's dive a little bit into your family's history there. There's been an explosion of activity on Etna in the last 30 years and a lot of investment from both local and outside investors and wineries. But your family's been there for a long time. So can you let us know kind of what you think sets Tornatore apart?
Yes. I think that the most important point is that the deep connection to the region is what sets Tornatore apart. My family is originally from Etna area, especially from Castiglione di Sicilia, that is situated in the northern side of the volcano. According to the historical archives, the Tornatore family has been present in Castiglione di Sicilia since 1600. So this is something quite unique because most of the actual Etna producers are coming from other places. So this is not obvious, let's say. Actually, my great-grandfather helped to draw up the lines of the Contrade, and at the end of the 1800, the start of 1900. This gave to my family, to Tornatore family, a great advantage in choosing to plant vineyards in the best contradas. So I think this is, and then there is, I think these 2 points are very important.
Well, let's for anyone who isn't quite as familiar with Etna, and actually, just this Italian term generally, let's talk a little bit more about what the contrade are, because your great grandfather helped draw them for a reason beyond just viticulture, right?
Yeah. Contrade are politically, let's say, political territories that since been appropriated for the cru system of Etna. And each contrada boasts, let's say, a unique volcanic soil due to the stratification of several lava flows of different times. And the consequently different minerals concentration on the ground makes every plot different from the other. And also important diversity is played by the changes in altitude and exposure to the sun.
Yeah, I think the changes in altitude are really extreme. You see them sort of on a printed flat piece of paper or on your screen. You're like, oh, that's not so far, but you can really, change 200 meters dramatically just by driving up a single road. I don't recommend running. It's not the best activity there.
You have to be well trained.
Oh,
You have to
goodness,
be
I
well
know.
trained.
But it's also interesting. The first time I went and I was looking for an address just to see, you need to go to Guardiola. So it feels like everyone who's local knows what that means, because it can be also for the post office or for all these other things. And then it also makes sense for wine, right?
Yeah. Something that is distinguishing, let's say, Etna from other places. It's a little bit close to what they have in France, maybe.
Yeah, I think Burgundy is a great example there because you have, a lot of people might own vineyards within a single contrada, right?
Yes, correct.
Well, let's jump back to your family and your family's history in the region. It really sounds like your father, Francesco, was the one who really spearheaded getting, today's winery project up and running. So I'd love for you to just kind of tell me about him and what inspired him.
Yeah, let's say my father Francesco, I would say that is really the soul of our vineyards, of our estate, of our company. Unfortunately, he doesn't speak English very well, so I'm trying to tell what he would say. So
You're doing great.
So told me my father was born in Castiglione di Sicilia, that is in the northern eastern part slope of Etna. Due to, let's say, limited economic opportunities, he had to leave to make his fortune elsewhere, starting a business in telecommunication. But he never forget his country, and he had always had the countryside at heart. Etna now is quite common in the world, but like 40 years ago, 50 years ago, wasn't very popular like now. And so my family owned these lands. They used to grow hazelnut, olive, vineyard, of course, but the dimension and the quality of what they produce couldn't be the only way of couldn't guarantee a good status of life. So he had to leave and start a new and follow another way, another business. But he never forget his territory, he never forget his land, and when he had the opportunity, he came back and started what was in his heart and what he really wanted to do. That was starting this company, this estate.
Well, I think your comment about, so many people having to leave and find fortune elsewhere was really the driving story of Etna until only very recently. And so it makes a lot of sense that he kept it with him as he went away and kept doing the agriculture and viticulture. Can you tell me a little bit more about sort of your family's history in the vineyards? Because even though the winery itself is a little bit more recent, you were just mentioning always kind of working with hazelnuts and vines, and you had an old palmento. How has that kind of changed over the years?
Yeah, in the old times, around the early 1900, my grandfather used to sell mostly bulk wine, olive oil, and hazelnut. But starting in the 70s, my father decided to stop producing bulk wine and started selling the grapes to the other producer. At the beginning, so the estate was made initially from vineyards that belonged to my family, handed down, let's say, through generations. In the early 90s, my father Francesco, due even to the success that he had in the main business, luckily we had success on the business, on our, like, let's say, main business. In the other business, the telecommunication business, began to enlarge the estate through several acquisitions, always in the same area of Castiglione. Always in the same area of Castiglione, because he was very linked to his village, that is Castiglione di Sicilia. So this is the reason why all our parcels or our contradas are based in, let's say, in the municipality of Castiglione di Sicilia.
Yeah, I want to talk about that more in a little bit, because I think that's a real unique point. But I first want to just talk about you as a kid. Do you remember being in the vineyards, and have you seen sort of the same people be involved with your family operation for a long time?
Yeah. For me, it was a little bit like a nightmare going to the vineyard when I was a kid, because 6 years old kid that has to spend all these Sundays in the vineyards wasn't so nice for me. Now I appreciate a lot, but when you are a kid, you want to go to other places, of course. But I even remember some of the people that are still working with us, picking grapes on those times. So, and I have even other nice memories of the past. I remember when once me and my father slept in the palmento during the harvest, because they were a little bit afraid that someone could come and steal the grapes. So it was something that I still keep well locked in my memory. Remember another nice episode that my mother is always telling people. I was like 6 months old. She held me in her arms, and she fell on the floor. She fell on the floor and on the ground. They were in Trimarchisa Contrada. And so she said, "I'll never come back again in this place." And now we are in.
She didn't get her way.
And now Trimarchisa is in top 129 wine of Italy. So it's something that makes me laugh when I remember it.
Well, maybe you got the bad luck out of the way early.
Yeah. I beat my head, so now I'm a little bit.
There you go. So I want to talk a little bit more about, all the different vineyards that you have, like Trimarchisa. Your family, you said, has sort of started in Castiglione di Sicilia. So for those who haven't known, that's kind of the main largest village that is on the northern side of the volcano, a little bit lower down in elevation. So when you talk about that, there's a lot of different contrade and even smaller towns like Solicchiata that are part of that, right?
Yeah.
And
We
so
own,
go ahead.
Yeah, as you said, Castiglione is the largest village in the northeast part of Etna, and we own our estate is quite large. Maybe it's one of the bigger. I don't know exactly, but for sure is one of the bigger in the northeast part of Etna. We own roughly 110 hectares of land, and 65 are Etna DOC. That is quite a lot if you consider that all the Etna DOC is roughly 1,000 hectares, so we are almost 8% of all the production. And on the Etna there are more than 120 producers, so this is quite a lot. And another key point is that all the vineyards are planted just with indigenous varieties: Nerello Mascalese, Nerello Cappuccio for reds, Carricante, and Catarratto for whites. The elevation is between 450 meters and 700 meters.
Yeah, that's really interesting. That you've stayed around that area. It actually does mean that you end up having most of your vineyards as DOC, even though there are vineyards up to 3,000 feet. But it sounded like there were some family memories of why you didn't purchase so high. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. We this is something like an internal fight between me and my father, because now there are many producers that are producing wine at 3,000 feet. My father, due especially to family, let's say family heritage, because my grandfather, my nonno, used to say that in the upper vineyards not ripening. So due to the climatic change, the heating, global heating, I don't know why now they are ripening on those places. So my father never wanted to buy lands over 700 meters. But you have to consider too that Trimarchisa, that is actually one of our best wine, the wine that was awarded by Wine Spectator, is located at around 450 meters. So it's quite low compared to the Etna standards.
Well, you also gave the sacrifice as a young child, so that's why.
Yeah. Now it's the best, yes.
Yeah, I mean, 450 meters in the grand scheme is still quite high, but for Etna, it's on the lower side, right?
Yeah. For Etna is in the lower side because Etna is between, let's say, 400 and 800 mainly.
Yeah. And it changes a little bit, as you go around, but it's interesting that on the north, you're contained right within it. So you were talking a little bit about all of the indigenous grapes that you have planted, Nerello Mascalese being kind of the leading red wine. But were you always planning to keep them? Because I know some of the trends, back in the 90s were to pull these vines. Why did you keep these?
Yeah. In fact, the trend was to plant especially, Merlot, Cabernet, international variety. And we had an advisor that was, I still remember, we were in Tuscany. I will not tell you the name of the guy, but it's quite famous. He suggested us to pulling these vines and planting grapes like Cabernet and Merlot. Etna wasn't the Etna that everybody knows today. Is as I said before, it was a completely different places, and the wines were completely different too, because there were not so much technique, professional people working on the terroir and so. But my father was very tough with the guy, and so I told him, no, I don't want to pull the vines. I want to keep on producing in indigenous varieties because Etna is unique in the world, and so he decided to keep on producing Nerello Mascalese and Caricante, and his choice was really the best choice.
It was a good one in the long run.
Yeah, in the long run was the best choice at all. Even to preserve a little bit like some romantic view of our nonno's memories. I don't know how to say, the heritage,
Right.
the legacy of the family. So I think that we were lucky. My father was very, I don't know how to say, was very convinced to keep on his own path without following these advisor and these people, that even smart people that started producing international varieties on Etna.
Well, and exactly. I think it's everything you said. He was invested in this place emotionally for the memory and the history. It wasn't just to make money, right? It was just to be on Etna.
Yeah, this is a very important point because this is something that maybe I didn't say before, but no shortcuts. We didn't follow any shortcut to get to the point. We just want to follow. We invested a lot of money on without any return at the beginning. No stress for the immediate result. Because luckily we had the opportunity to have our own business in another, as I said before, in another business. So we didn't have to have the return immediately. So this helped the starting a lot of the estate, of the business, of the wine business, because we didn't have the stress to get the result immediately. This is quite important, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it sounds like, it was just kind of a long, methodical process. So you were invested on Etna, there for many generations, working in the vineyards. I know we're going to taste together a little bit later. So you actually did start a winery and selling your own wines. Can you tell us a little bit about how that happened, when the winery was built and your first harvest?
Yes, the winery was built because my father, at a certain point, decided to stop selling the grapes to the others because, the big of the work was in the land. So we wanted to see the final result. That was the reason why we decided at a certain point to start our own winery. And even that choice was a good choice. So it was around 2012, 2013. And the first harvest actually was 2014. That was a great vintage on Etna to start. 14 was an awful vintage everywhere, but on Etna was one of the best.
I know, it's so delicious.
Yeah.
I remember being there on that harvest as well, and it was just perfect conditions all year. So anyone who thinks Italian wines in 14 were not good, go to Etna.
Yeah, I agree.
Auspicious start. So you started with that first vintage, and now how many wines are you making?
Today we produce 10 wines, all from our vineyards. Of course, the grapes are coming 100% from our vineyards, so we don't buy any grapes. We produce 2 sparkling wines, Charmant method, both from Nerello Mascalese. One still rosé wine, 3 white wines that are Etna Bianco, Pietrarizzo Etna Bianco, Zottorinotto Etna Bianco. And each of these wines embody the essence of volcanic soil, the unique characteristic of the different single vineyard terroir. And then we produce 4 red wines that are the Etna Rosso, the Pietrarizzo Etna Rosso, Trimarchisa Etna Rosso, and Etna Rosso Riserva.
Yeah, and I think it's an interesting thing because you didn't stray from your philosophy of keeping it to the family roots and domain by going and investing on the east, where it would be the Superiore for the Etna Bianco, right? You're
Yeah,
working with the grapes that you have in your vineyards where your family's from.
yeah. This is the key point, and is what we are trying to follow. Is our philosophy, let's say. And even each wine is aged in its own way. We have big barrels for red, stainless steel tank, barriques, barrel for white, and then we have a concrete tank for aging, pre-bottling, maturation of the reds.
I love the return of concrete. I think especially for volcanic soils, there's some things that, whether it's technical or just, the beauty of the mystery, it for me really enhances that minerality, which
Yeah,
is what we love about Etna, right?
yeah. We believe a lot in concrete tank, so we have plenty of those. And even the minerality, that gave to the wine, it's quite unique. So we are investing a lot. We bought a lot of those tanks.
Well, let's maybe move to the wine that you and I are sharing across the ocean. We have, for listeners, the 2017 Contrada Pietrarizzo. So I poured it about a half hour ago, and it's been fun to sniff on and watch open up while we've been talking. But can you maybe just start by telling me a little bit about this Contrada before we, talk about the wine?
Yeah, Contrada Pietrarizzo is located between 680 meters and 700 meters. In the tallest part of the Contrada, we have the Caricante, the white Caricante, and a little bit of Cataratto. In the lower part, we have the Nerello Mascalese. So the terrace of 680 meters is all Nerello Mascalese. From that terrace are coming the grapes that are using for Pietrarizzo Etna Rosso. The vines are, let's say, around 20 years old. The feature of the soil is that it's very rocky, volcanic, and the Contrada is very windy. So it means that we don't use a lot of chemical. We don't use anything because the soil is very dry, and we produce around 19,000 bottles.
Yeah, bottles, not cases, right? It's
Oh,
still not a lot of
bottles.
wine.
No, yeah, sorry, but
No, it's good. I love that about Etna, that really there's not a lot of need for intervention. It's just a pretty healthy growing environment. Mold and mildew, not big issues, especially because
yeah.
of that wind.
Yes,
I
it's
don't
very healthy. And Pietrarizzo is very, very windy. It's super windy. So it's one of the windiest places I've ever seen on Etna, actually.
And that's saying a lot because the north, we didn't really talk about this before, but the north, is a bit of a wind tunnel, right? So you've got the mountain range that it faces, the Peloritane, that, the wind is coming off of the ocean. And I
Yeah.
find the north generally to be windy. So it's good.
Yeah.
It's great for this contrada to have that extra. It's hard on the
Yeah.
grapes, but good for the wine.
Extra wind. I prefer on the sea wind because I like kite surfing.
Oh, there you go.
I cannot do kite surfing on Etna, unfortunately. So
No, but you can drive down to the beach. 45 minutes,
yeah.
right?
But on the beach is not windy. It's always wind just in Pietrarizzo.
Oh,
Anyway,
well.
we are joking, but it's a very unique place because you see Castiglione di Sicilia on the right, you see Etna on the back, and it's a magical place. It's really a magical place. Everybody, all the visitors that we have that are coming to Pietrarizzo and visit this contrada, the astonishment on their faces is unbelievable, really.
And you have about, you said they're about 20 years old. Are they all sort of kind of the Albarello style planting, or
Uh, no, we
they're more
have
modern style? Great. That
yeah,
protects them.
they are modern style. Yes, this is something that it's another way that we followed since the beginning, and is giving us great result right now. To
So,
produce this wine, we harvest by hand Nerello Mascalese from this vineyard. We desturm and lightly press the grapes. Then do you want me to go on through the winemaking
no,
process, or?
I think it's great. The only thing I was gonna just translate for anyone in America is that 680 meters, just so you know, is about 2,250 feet. So it's still quite up there. It's part of that windiness. But yeah, talk about the Contrada, how you make it. It's one of your top bottlings, so I think you handle it pretty specially.
Yeah, we handle really specially because it's one of my favorite. I like all our wines, but this is something. It's a little bit more special. It's special. It's something different. It's a completely different wine, in my opinion. Anyway, I tell you how we produce this wine. We harvest, of course, by hand the Nerello Mascalese. We just turn, and as I said before, we lightly, gently press the grapes. Then the maceration is lasting around 10, 12 days in cement tank. And after we separate the wine from the skin using a press, and we press the wine in big French oak barrel for at least 1 year. They are big. This is another philosophy. We use big barrel. We don't use. We have some barrique, but we mostly use a big French oak barrel. After the aging, before bottling, we do another passage in the cement tank, the one you love, for some months, at least around 4 to 5 months in cement tank, and then up to roughly 6 to 7 months in bottles.
Yeah, I do like that passage back in cement tank. We talked a little bit about that minerality, but that's part of what makes Etna, all those volcanic soils, so special. So I love that you're trying to enhance that where you can.
Yeah.
You said that this was a really special wine and one of your favorites. Before we talk about vintage, why do you love it so much?
But I love it because it's, let's say, it's, the mint. I think the mint is the most, the
Yeah.
menthol, the balsamic that you can find in this wine is quite unique. It's something that I can recognize this one among many others. The drinkability, maybe because I know where this wine is coming from, so my mind is a little bit like in love before starting to drink the wine, because I love the place where the grapes are coming from. But the balsamic notes and the team time, I don't know, time or team, I don't know how to say it.
It's time in English, timo in Italian. We'll
Time,
take
yes,
it.
the time, the mint that you can feel when you drink this wine is quite unique. So these are the reason why I mostly love this wine.
Well, and I think you're right. You can they're in the air, depending on where you are, stronger, less strong. But that mint on Etna is so strong in certain places.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And in this place, most like the wind is super strong. So
it whips it
it's
up.
something that it's something that I really love. And even the 17, the vintage 17, that was the one that we are talking about, is something that I still remember because in August 17, my son Francesco was born. So I remember very
Oh,
well that vintage. I remember really well that
your
vintage.
poor wife. It was so hot in
Uh,
August.
yeah, I remember because my wife was pregnant and was super hot. He was born on 18th of August, so let's say we lost the summer for a good reason, of course, but it
Right.
was super hot. So I still remember that it was one of the hottest summer we had. That was, of course, linked to the maturation of the grapes. That
Right.
was amazing. But after that, I remember that after the harvest of the white, the climate changed immediately and started to light rain and cool temperature.
So it kind of
But
refreshed the wine at the end of the
yeah,
hot
it
season.
refreshed it refreshed the thermal excursion during this ripening period maybe gave this excellent development of the bunches and arrived in the harvest like perfectly healthy and ripe everything. So this gave to this vintage in particular a really complex character, a great elegance, and an extraordinary balance now nose and mouth.
Yeah, I agree. I'm tasting it as you're talking, and you get that rich fruit concentration from the heat on the middle of the palate, but it finishes super light, super dry, super fresh. It's really that
Yeah,
drinkability factor. I liked that
yeah,
word.
yeah. The drinkability, yes. We drink a lot of this wine. Unfortunately, now I'm on a diet. I'm starting like 2 weeks without alcohol.
Oh
Unfortunately,
no.
so I don't have a glass of wine in front of me right now. So I have just a glass of water, unfortunately.
Oh
But
well.
I love this wine. Even the rosemary that you can feel, ripe fruit, mint, as I said before, thyme, and so it's very complex wine and very even the not so the elegant tannin and the persistence of this wine in the mouth that is really long.
Yeah.
Is lasting a lot in mouth.
I can attest that
Uh,
it's lasting while you're talking. I
yeah,
think the elegant tannins are a great point. It's Nerello Mascalese we know is such a tannic variety. It's why you do all this work in the winery to calm those tannins down. Drinking Nerello en primeur or really young out of tank can really dry your
yeah,
palate, but I like the balance of the kind of slightly softened tannin and the ripe red cherry fruit here. It's almost like a black cherry for this
yeah.
vintage. It's really yummy.
Yeah, and then another great feature of this wine, of the let's say of most of the Etna red wines, is the that you can pair this wine with different kind of food. You can
With
go
everything.
from with everything. I remember I had like a tasting in Miami in a Thai restaurant, and when I first arrived, I was a little bit shocked. They say, "Why? Usually when I go to Thai restaurant, I drink beer or drink." These kind of things. But they paired the Thai food with Etna Ross, and it was really perfect because you can. It's like let's say a sommelier dream because they can suggest this wine almost with everything, starting from the of course steak, stew, meat, and everything like that. My mom's macaroni with sugo
Yeah.
that you probably for sure you know because you are in love with Etna, so you know this like sauce of with handmade macaroni. But you can drink this wine with seafood, with
Yeah.
swordfish, with many different dishes. So
Yeah,
this is, I think this is a key, one of the reason of the success of Etna in the world, because it's like a really elegant wine that you can really pair, you can really drink with almost everything.
well, and you can think about it as, everyone says, what grows together goes together. You've got the black pig of the Nebrodi over there, so pork is
Yeah,
perfect. You've got the
yeah,
ocean there with the tuna and the swordfish with those kind of
yeah,
heavier fish. It's and good with some vegetarian things too. I like it with some eggplant.
yeah.
And with Americans,
You should try my mother's caponata that is quite famous in
oh, I will. I will come.
among Gallo managers. They love it.
Perfect. Next time I'm
Maybe they
there.
choose Tornatore because of my mom's caponata. We're always joking about that because I remember Joe Gallo came to Etna and my mother was cooking this caponata that is really amazing. It's really fantastic. And he fell immediately in love with Tornatore. No, I'm joking. Wasn't because of
I
caponata.
think
But
you could include a recipe in a shipment here and there, and people might buy some more
but
Tornatore.
yeah, but you have this food and drug. I don't know why. I don't know how to ship it.
No,
Maybe
just
I
the
can.
recipe. Just the recipe. We'll come to
The
you for
recipe, yeah,
the.
yeah. Maybe I can carry my mom with me next trip, and so she will make some like a kind of show cooking, showing
I
her how she does it. But
I think
it's really something amazing.
she'd be a hit, a total hit.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've talked a lot about, everything from your winemaking philosophy. I think what makes it so special is really that you are so focused within the DOC on the north. For those that aren't into all of the Italian legislation, we've talked about this a bit, but it really does mean under 800 meters. So that 450 to 700 meters where the Tornatore vineyards are puts them squarely in the middle of it all. I love the story about your nonno remembering that grapes weren't ripening up there, and that being a driving reason of not investing further north. It's maybe my favorite little story we said today.
Okay, so I'm very happy to speak with you and to tell you a little bit about the family. But what we saw in the past is that when you talk about our estate, our vineyards, yes, people they like it, but when they visit our vineyard, they fall in love with it. So this is something quite unique that is very difficult to explain by words. You should definitely come and visit. We have even like a small resort with rooms to host people. So we are 100% in the business, but believe me, it's not just for business. Not for business, but yeah, of course there is a business reason behind what we are doing. But there is a passion. Passion is everywhere, starting from my mom's caponata, ending to the last worker that we have in the land.
No, I think that comes through in everything. It's and I agree. Everyone should book a ticket. This should be the first place, if you haven't traveled in a long time, that you go to. You've got to see it and smell it and taste it to really understand Etna. It's so special.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Giuseppe, di nuovo.
Thank you,
Grazie.
Sara. Grazie.
This was really exciting, and I think we'll just say we'll be continuing this series next week, same time, same virtual place, with Marilisa Allegrini, and a little reveal for the US market. So with that, thank you all, and hopefully see you next week. Ciao a tutti.
Ciao.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of our new Gallo Luxury Wine Portfolio series. Tune in next Saturday for the next installment, featuring another in-depth and intimate conversation with the heritage Italian wine producers that form the core of the Gallo Italian wine family. To learn more about today's featured producer, see our show notes and visit their websites. Don't forget to subscribe and like our show, and tune in to the Italian Wine Podcast wherever you get your pods. guys, I'm Joy Livingston, and I am the producer of the Italian Wine Podcast. Thank you for listening. We are the only wine podcast that has been doing a daily show since the pandemic began. This is a labor of love, and we are committed to bringing you free content every day. Of course, this takes time and effort, not to mention the cost of equipment, production, and editing. We would be grateful for your donations, suggestions, requests, and ideas. For more information on how to get in touch, go to ItalianWinePodcast.com.